Hello. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Level Up Podcast brought to you by True Fin Coaching. You have myself, you got Justin, Iman. Everybody's back for another episode. Jam packed. We got a lot to talk about today. This is the podcast where we hope our listeners and viewers level up with us in their finances. Um, we no guest today is going to be us coaches talking about some hot topics that are in the financial world and just want to bring some awareness to those topics and talk around them, have a little roundtable talk, and hopefully you guys in the comments and after when watching this episode, y'all can kind of engage and give some of y'all feedback as well. But we're excited to bring another episode to the Level Up Podcast. Just a couple couple things before we get started here. Of course, always like to let our viewers know that we are speaking from our point of view within the financial industry, and to please do your own research before making any decisions. And speak with a financial professional for any investment advice. Couple topics we'll go just run down the topics we'll go over today is we're going to get a little bit into crypto, talk about some crypto with you guys, and then also
Yeah.
AI. See it all over right now. Probably your feed in your social media is filled with a lot of artificial intelligence topics, and then we're going to talk about the links between Doomsday and financial consciousness, and that's an interesting one. You don't want to miss that one, so stay tuned. So let's dive in. Let's go ahead and get started with that first topic, which I'm sure a lot of us, if we follow any financial influencers, you probably got somebody in your inbox trying to request about cryptocurrency. So um, a lot of people may see it as sometimes as a scam, but crypto is real, and it's here. Probably, I would say to stay. As much as an impact as it had, you've seen already decades of it here in the industry. If you haven't heard it before, but you got you got coins, you got meme coins, you got NFTs, blockchains, all these different things, all these different terms been thrown around. So just wanted to open up the conversation to start about crypto and maybe open up with a question to you guys is, do y'all know why crypto was invented?
You gonna go in mine?
No, go ahead, Justin.
All right.
Hey, and that is kind of the
Uh,
response that everybody kind of gets.
so I feel it's an alternative to like the normal banking. I feel like it's a way for like as far as for accessibility. Um, when it comes to just transactions, making it like a little bit more seamless, as well as it's not regulated as heavy as like the banking products. So I feel like that's like the benefits of crypto to me.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
you threw a tough question already, Jesse. Damn, man, you throwing us out there. I mean, I don't know much about crypto at all. You're our crypto guy, but what I understand, very little that I do understand, is like the dollar, the monetary paper that we use is backed up by like the Federal Reserve. Well, and that's centralized, and there's limitations to that. And I think with everything that's going on, crypto is decentralized. There's less power given to a certain government or reserve or whatever, and that opens up a lot of different opportunities. One, but also makes it very you know, interesting for the future, what the direction that we're going in and things like that. So again, I don't know a lot about crypto, but that's the very basics that I know. And I don't even know if I got that right. So
Both of y'all made some great points, and really the point of that question was to show it's very early in crypto, and there's a lot of new things that we're all still learning. And so I always want to start off because a lot of us understand and know what happened in 2008, which was, a huge, a crash in the market. And that's when, the mortgage, bellied up and a mortgage lending bellied up, things like that. And so, of course, we've seen the banks get bailed out, and a lot of people were not happy with that, and they were kind of scared. So, they invented a decentralized alternative to traditional currency systems, because as we see now, we're kind of very in a similar realm where banks are not trusted. So, how can we rely on these banks and these other financial intermediaries and things like that, to process transactions and to get us our money when we need it. And, if we need to go pull our money, do they have enough money at that time? Us and working in the banking industry, we've kind of seen, if you see somebody come ask for 100,000 in cash, we don't hold that on hand. You're right away. We got to order that. There's a process for that. And so, we got to question that at some point. What is this the right system that is going to be working forever? And you're now starting to see some of that domino effect happen where we can't, there has to be a change somewhere, and there has to be some other alternative to what we're doing. And so the goal of cryptocurrency was to create a more secure, it's supposed to be more secure, more efficient way to exchange value without relying on that third party intermediary. So now we can have more control over, our funds. What we do is giving us more access to be able to have that player one access, right? You have more of that controller in your hand to be able to say, this is how I'm gonna level up my finances. And, what if I need to go do lending or things like that? Why is it that I always have to rely on the bank and all these other things that have to fall into place? Why can't we have some other alternatives that we can do? Another key feature to crypto, and it's kind of the secret sauce, I guess you would say, is the blockchain technology. And so, have y'all done any research on the blockchain? I just kind of open it up. What are y'all thoughts on the blockchain technology?
It sounds really cool, and the only thing I know about blocks is if it comes after Legos. So you might need to teach me a thing or two right now, Jesse. But I feel like I'm like an
How about you,
average
Jay?
person today as far as their understanding about crypto. Like I'm like your baseline. So if I'm not getting
Yeah,
it, I'm sure there's a lot of people that aren't getting it either. So it's good that we're doing this.
yeah, I
With
agree.
that being
I'm
said, let me break it
definitely
down.
okay.
So, blockchain is a decentralized digital ledger that records transactions in a secure and transparent way. So, each block is in the blockchain, and it creates a unique cryptographic hash, is how they do it. And then which it makes it virtually impossible to tamper with or alter previous transactions. So it's basically a trust system within the transactions that you're making on this blockchain. And so, in a lot of ways, transparency is good to where we can track those things to make sure it's a legitimate transaction and also secure. So we hear in the banking industry, I remember from my experience, there's a lot of scams, a lot of fraud, and there's not to say that that's not here within crypto, but there's going to be more secure ways where you can, you know, secure your funds better, or secure your, wallets, as they say, and way access to your money, things like that. So it's definitely something unique. And I would say that blockchain is definitely the reason why, for me, I've looked to crypto and done my research on it, because it's so interesting and innovative. And cryptography is really something that's I've been around, but now it's getting more built on and now growing and more integrations. And so it's exciting to see that it's had use cases now. You've seen some real life use cases come to play, and so one of those being investing into cryptocurrencies. Now, also cryptocurrency is a speculative investment, just like your stocks and things like that. But it can be seen as risky. And as I mentioned early in the game, and as Justin brought up, still there are some regulation holes to fill because it is a little bit of the wild wild west right now, and it's very volatile. But it can still work as an asset. And so a digital asset at that. And so people, I don't know if y'all have seen, but a lot of people have made a lot of money on crypto, and a lot of situations where you can invest. And you've seen Bitcoin and FOMO and all these terms where people have tried, you know, to understand it and then kind of miss the boat. But I don't still feel like I still feel like there's a chance there where you can still early enough to where you can get a pretty good return on your money, and still learn the ins and outs of crypto.
Yeah, I got a question actually.
Sure.
With
My
everything
bad.
that's going on with crypto, it's been around for a couple of years now. I remember when Bitcoin first came out and everyone was like super hyped, and it went through this whole stage of like people like buying it just kind of just to get it, and then they forgot their passwords to their computers, and it shot up to like 60 grand or something like that, and they just missed out on like millions of dollars. But now, I mean, people, not myself, have a better understanding of crypto, but it's still, as you said, it's still volatile. People are still kind of hesitant. Everything that you talked about when it comes to crypto sounds great. You know what I mean? Like on paper, everything sounds like, wow, this is the future, you know? But it's everyone else that we talk to or talk about it say there's still some time before really we get to that mature level with cryptocurrency. So I'm curious to know, now coming back to the question, is what is it going to take to get to through that hump, I guess, to where crypto, I mean, it is starting, you're starting to see it in like different platforms. ATMs are starting to allow Bitcoin, you know, like we're starting to see it in our day to day. But what's it going to take to really get over that hump to where people feel confident enough? Your average person, I should say, because I think those that are doing their research know what, the where, the how. But someone like myself, how do I make that, like, what's it going to take from here until then to be like, you know what, we just crossed a huge hump here, or this is a big hurdle, and crypto's really where it's supposed to be, and it's the future, and like it's trusted, and you can like measure it properly. It's not volatile, you know. Like I'm just curious to know what does that look like, or if there's even an answer to that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the crucial part is going to be that regulation piece. And also, right now, we're really in the middle of the SEC, who the Security Exchange Commission is really trying to identify what is a security and what is a like a what do you call like a precious metal? What type of asset is that? That is you know
Gold and silver.
Yeah, so like, yeah, trying to just identify what exactly these digital assets classify as, and right now they can't really give a straight answer, and so they're in the middle of getting the people in and out of there to figure those things out, and if we can get a clear answer. I don't know if people who follow, but there is a case out there that's very crucial against a particular cryptocurrency is XRP, and they're supposed to be changing the way our payment system and things like that function, wires, and supposed to make it faster and cheaper, things like that. And this case has been going on for a while. It's still in the middle, and they keep saying it's coming to an end, coming to an end. But I think once they finally make those decisions, and then the regulation comes, and we all know what what these classify as, I think that's going to help everybody. Then just like I mentioned before, then we got to understand it, right? So everyday person has to understand it. We got to break it down, mass adoption, institutional adoption. We're starting to see some institutions come and put some actual money behind it. So I think we're once we can get some more regulation, and then now with the next presidency coming, if they, that's gonna take a big it should be a topic in terms of the next president and how they're gonna handle that and handle crypto and things like that. So I feel like as a nation, we're behind. Russia and China seem to be on the ball and be some years ahead of us. But, that's not to say we can't catch up. And now we have these big exchanges like Coinbase and, Kraken, things like that. They're starting to explore even headquarters outside of the US. And so they want some answers because, this space has room to grow, but it's being so limited, ironically, by your centralized parties. So they're trying. I think it's going to help once we get some clear answers and clear some of the air, and then now these helps these institutions say where do they stand, how can they grow this, how can they build on it, because Coinbase has had a lot of issues out of New York and trying to say, okay, y'all want to fine us for this or that, but tell us because we're trying to go by your rules, but then you come with different rules. So they need to have some clear pathways so that way crypto can work on and then grow.
I
That's
appreciate
good
that.
stuff.
Yeah. I was
But
gonna say
regardless,
I mean, once they figure out how to get their money out of it, how to tax us and stuff, that's probably when we're gonna really start seeing those pathways open, you know. But
definitely.
yeah, good
And
stuff
and yeah,
for sure.
right now it's I think it's a good thing to do your own research. Go play with it. Open a wallet. Go find what a cold wallet is, what a hot wallet is. Don't put money in there that you're like. Don't put your life savings in it or anything like that. Put some money that you're willing to lose and just test it out. And there's so many different projects out there. You got to be careful as well. You got to be vigilant because there are some rug pulls, things like that, where you can be invested in something and there's somebody holds a lot of stake in that coin or ecosystem, and they just pull their money out. That can make or break an institution. So regardless of the future holds for crypto, is clear like they've made significant impact already in the world. They've already kind of put their stamp there. So interested or not, I think it's simply just going to be better for the everyday person to learn more about the emerging asset, and then just stay informed, and then just keep on to the latest developments. But I think the space has a lot of room to grow.
Nice. I do got one more question now that you said that, Jesse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, going back to when crypto first kind of made the scene and like Coinbase came out, and you could like buy, and everybody had a coin. Everybody had a coin, like you, and everyone wanted to get the next Bitcoin. So we just bought stuff just to be like, you know what? I'm seriously just gonna put like 50, 100 bucks into this and hope it goes to 60K in the next couple of years. But now it's, I mean, there are coins and crypto that are clearly developed in like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, like Cardano. Like there's a there's a few that people know. I'm talking about myself now. Again, like I understand that these are legitimate. I don't want to say legitimate, but they've matured. They've been marinating. They've gone through the tests and they've come out. And so my question is like, what? Now we have these meme coins, these Pepe coins, Shiba coin, like Dogecoin, things like this. Um, where do you keep yourself from going into that pitfall again to like, oh, let me just throw, or is it even a pitfall? Like now I'm trying to understand the difference between the coins, I guess, specifically. And this is again my limited understanding, but it seems like there are some that are like here and some that are kind of like down here. And you just, how do you tell the difference in that?
Yeah, and so as I mentioned, it's the wild wild west right now. So you want to do your research. because I see those meme coins as more of a lottery ticket. So, you
Gotcha.
can go ahead and buy that, meme coin, or you can go ahead and believe in it and have some conviction there. But again, like you're paying for a lottery ticket, may go up, but it also may go down. And so you're kind of gambling at that point. So to your other point, there we have what's called these crypto winters. And as we mentioned, this asset class is very volatile. So it can shoot up, it can shoot down, it has these moves. You've seen Bitcoin go to 20 to 60 to 40 to 50 down. These coins, even the more prevalent ones, can go 70, 80, 90% down from their all-time high. But behind the scenes that they're still doing their due diligence, they're working, they're still building. And that's because, when these assets that require a lot of liquidity and, a lot of cash, people take that money out when there's fear in the market. And so, you don't have huge market caps, even crypto altogether does not have as large of a market cap as Apple as a company. So that should tell you right there that, somebody with a whale that has a lot of money or things like that pulls their money out, you're putting that investment at risk, because that can drop significantly. So there are these prevalent, as you mentioned, the only ones that I trust, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano, based off of my research. Those I feel like are your blue chip, more like your blue chip crypto. So you think about your Apples, your Microsoft, your big companies that are be able to sustain. And these companies, as you've seen through different crypto winters, they've been able to sustain their coins and ecosystems through this. And Bitcoin has, kind of withstood it all since 2009, since the inception. So I would say that's your safest bet. And then to go look at some of these other coins out there and do your own research and see who is building on this and what plans do they have for the future, and just make sure they're more sustainable crypto coin or ecosystem. But great questions.
I appreciate. Yeah, great
But yeah,
stuff.
speaking of
Appreciate it,
innovation,
Jesse.
let's talk about the next innovation and the hot topic, which is artificial intelligence. Um, it's here, and with everything that's new, like we just mentioned, like crypto, there's good, there's bad, you know there's unknowns. And so we've seen Chat GPT come out. And for me, in my experience, I've heard of AI, for a long time, right? AI has been around for a long time, and it's now becoming an everyday use case. And we see it now where it's more popular than ever. It's just taken off, and it's being integrated in human lives and jobs. And it's just now this technology that we've been able to use and rely on. And now that's opening up a whole can of worms and opportunities. And so let's talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. Who wants to kind of bring up their first topic there?
I'll go ahead and bring it up. So I did some stats on the AI. Um, TechCrunch recently did a survey stating that 72% of companies that they did a survey with are planning to up their investment in AI. Some of the top five positions that will be highly affected by AI is customer service support, computer coders, taxi and truck drivers, medical assistants, and cashiers. So I do think AI is going to be revolutionary. I think it's going to like take over. Um, like it's gonna be like the next big tech thing, sort of like the internet, sort of like social media. Obviously, we're seeing it at a sort of a small the impact that it's having with us in regards to just content creation. I think it has a lot. Uh, it can go pretty far. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree with Justin 1000%. AI is definitely making a statement. And the funny thing is, what was it, November of last year when ChatGPT came out? Like very, very recent. It hasn't even been a year. And today, like it's just so like normal, like it's so weird because when it first came out I remember like, man, we were like so hyped, we were like crazy, like, man, this is insane, you can put whatever you want into chat gpt and it'll come up with whatever it is. Now people are posting like tutorials on how to use it, and like it's just become so normal. I use it like trying to figure out my resume, like we use it on our Instagram page and things like that. So it's just become like Jesse was saying, like such a normal part of our normal user day to day. But AI is, I think people, another side of it is that, like, I mean, you see these earning calls recently with like Amazon and Meta and what is it, like Twitter or whatnot. They're all they counted the number of times that they talked about AI just in their earning calls. So these big companies are they got plans, they got big plans for AI for sure. And we don't want to be stuck being the guy like when the internet first came out, like you said, Justin, being that guy like, oh no, this is just like the internet ain't that big a deal, like it's all good. The internet ain't a big deal. Are you serious? Like AI is going to be, in my opinion, something like that for sure. Like it's a big deal and it's coming, and we're it's just advancing so much. I mean, ChatGPT is just one tiny part of it. I mean, you're seeing so many different technologies coming out, being able to do the face recognition. You saw Drake pull out a few songs and he had nothing to do with them, the voice recognition. He's able to copy your inflection, your style. Like that's the beginning. This is the beginning. So we gotta understand that people that are getting into universities now need to start understanding that, what they want to study, where they want to work, because like you said, jobs are going to be different in very little time. So if you're looking to be a coder or a software engineer, like that game is going to change. So um, among other things. So I don't know. I think it's definitely a big deal, and we need to get on board for sure.
Yeah, I think it's better not to fear it or try to go against it. I think it's just naturally for me, I'm just curious, so just want to see in what ways we can learn from it, use it to our advantage, and like we've already mentioned, both of y'all using it for our own business, and we've talked about having ChatGPT here as an assistant on the podcast. So hey, like whatever we could do, and however it can help, I say let's embrace it. I think as society, like let's speed up the process rather than slow it down, because I feel like there's a lot of things in our society that should be further along, and hopefully some of these big companies can put some money behind that to kind of help speed up some of these systems and get things better prepared for our society. And unfortunately, there are going to be some people who are left behind and jobs taken and those types of things. But I think there has to be a shift somewhere along the way to where we shift to let's learn how to work side by side with these things, and how can it help us be better and work towards a common cause or things like that. So I and then unfortunately, there's always a flip side of the coin. There is evil that could be done with this stuff, as you mentioned, the speech recognition, and that's something to be mindful of. And how can we police it? So we talked about regulation with crypto. There's gonna and we've seen Elon Musk already come out and fighting for regulation for AI. So there's gonna definitely still gonna be something that we have to contain at the same time while learning about it. So it's definitely gonna be uh, as you talked about, game changing technology. So it's already putting a huge stamp and just came busting through already. Bust the door open already, making impacts, and good for Microsoft for getting in. when they could, and integrating it. It's already integrated with their browser, and you can just use ChatGPT through that. And I'm sure they're going to do a lot more other stuff with it. So it's growing fast, but yeah, we got to find ways to maintain it as well.
Yeah, I do like with the record labels, getting involved as far as for AI and the voice, and they're warning the streaming companies about, hey, the copywriting issues with that. So I I don't know. It's coming. It's coming really really quickly. I definitely think that we should be aware of some of the side effects of it as well, such as people relying on it a lot. Obviously you just ask it a question and it give you an answer. So a lot of people probably will not be doing as much due diligence as they've done in the past. So hopefully, like as long as we can keep it to where it's not the information is always objective, I think we're heading in a good direction, personally.
Yeah, actually, now that you mentioned that, Justin, that does bring a good point. I mean, we're talking about all the good stuff. Jesse mentioned, Justin, you mentioned as well a lot of the regulations that are required. Some things we've already seen people using AI for the bad, and that's not good. But I think it's interesting what you mentioned is that people are going to start relying on it more in schools, in their workplaces. So it's the I guess how we grow in our human nature as well is when things like this happen where our lives become easier. For
Mhm.
example, going way back to when we had horses, like the first piece of technology was a horse. Like we figured out how to use a horse, and we were able to plow acres more of land for farming rather than just your own personal garden. Like those are the benefits of leaning into technology and leaning into us growing. But people had to learn different skills, new skills, and things like that. So we evolve with growth. I feel like, and I think AI is an opportunity for us, like as humankind, to grow. But naturally, there are going to be people that are in this specific space. Like there was what was that company called? Chegg? I think it was like a tutoring company.
Yeah.
And you saw like as soon as Chat GPT hit, like they just plummeted, like they were out. And that just goes to show like kids are, I don't need to study this. I just ask Chat GPT and it gives me the answer. But that's going to get you so far, right? And I think we're going to evolve from that as well. And there's going to be individuals that are going to be too reliant on it and just lose some skills, I feel like. But others are going to learn how to co-adapt with it and make it a skill of theirs to excel. And so that's where we start to grow, and that's where the game changes. I think curriculums are going to start changing. I think workplaces we've already talked about where a lot of different companies are going to start relying on AI for different jobs and things like that. And we have to think ahead, be ahead of it and know that we got to learn these skills to be in the game now, and that's going
Mhm.
to, in the long run, I feel like that's going to be great for us. But right now, there's going to be people that are going to get hit by it, lose their jobs, or not know how to do math. Although we have like calculators on our phones, but I'm just saying, like, there's some basic things that we just need to know. But AI can definitely help us. We shouldn't rely on it. I feel like we should be able to work with it. I think you had mentioned that, Jesse. Just being able to learn how to work with AI and enhance your skill set and enhance your career and enhance your studying, whatever it might be. So I feel like it can be a big enhancement. It's a lot of words I
Yeah.
use. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I posted last week. I don't know if y'all seen, but that guy, he was using Chat GPT as kind of in a therapy way, and really having a meaningful conversation, and him being well, not him, I guess ChatGPT being, somebody that giving really sound advice and going back and forth with, and that's good. There's going to be some relationships made out of this, which is very interesting. And we've seen it in movies for so long, but it's going to become a reality, which is, man, the world's changing before our eyes. We're in a huge pivot point, talking about crypto and AI, and soon there'll be robots and flying cars. Hopefully.
iRobot.
Elon has been warning, I guess, like Congress and stuff about, the bad parts of AI that could possibly happen. Because I guess I mean, it can definitely turn into that if this thing just continues to get sophisticated. You know what I mean? So
And I think it's
we'll see.
interesting that it is only as sophisticated as you really tell it. Like if you're going to be plain and generic with it, it's going to be plain and generic with you right back. So it's just so crazy how adaptable that thing is. Because if you're sophisticated with it, it's going to be sophisticated right back with it. But like you many people can use that for bad and evil. So
True.
Right. And one last, even social media companies are jumping on it. My fiance, she opened that when we were on the trip, and
mm.
it has like an AI. I didn't really go into details on how it works, but it's like, okay, everyone is incorporating it. So just something interesting to see.
I heard about
Cool.
that and some bad stuff on the news that thing's influencing kids pretty bad.
Oh
So
man.
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
they should have an
Wow.
age limit on that thing.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Switching over to our last topic of the day, we have the link between Doomsday and financial consciousness. I'll let Iman take the floor on this one, and I think there's some Gen Z involved in there as well. So,
Yeah. There's some peoples involved in this one. I mean, this topic kind of came up when I was skimming through TikTok. I was just going through, your casual TikToker, and I came across this guy who, ironically, was like doing a reaction video to a guy talking about crypto, and he's like, "Crypto, Bitcoin is it right now? Buy it now, buy it now, buy it now." And then he reacts to it, and he's like, "Dude, stop telling me what to do. It's crypto today. It's this tomorrow. It's that the next day. It's this like." I got through COVID. I've gone through just all this Ukraine and Russia. China's now on our bus. Like every time I turn on the news, every time I flip the page, someone is telling me to buy something, and the world is coming to an end. He's like, I'm just gonna do me. I'm just gonna live my life, and if I want to go and spend it on whatever I want to spend it, that's what I'm gonna do. Don't tell me what to do. Like he was pissed at this guy. And I thought that kind of made me question, like, I wonder, because he was a younger guy. Well, I'd say younger than us, I should say. But I was curious to know, like, well, who else thinks like that? Like, we've been going through so much stuff every single day. It's something new. It's a mass shooting over here. It's a war over there. It's a hurricane over here. It's a bombing over. Like it's just every single day, especially now with like everything at our fingertips. You just get everything. And I mean, to his point, he does have a point. Like the world seems like it's ending every day, and to feel that and be like, you know what? I don't care what I spend my money on at this point because everyone is telling me the world is ending. Basically, that's the question that I came up was trying to kind of contemplate about. So I pulled out some numbers, and I'll share with you guys right now. And I got a couple of questions. So my first inkling was, first of all, we're in the biggest credit card debt. You guys know this ever. We're at the highest. I think it's like 940 billion now, 930 billion right now. And the crazy part is it's up 18.5% from last year. And just to do a
mm,
real quick number crunch, it was like 160 billion more than last year in credit card debt alone. So those are kind of like, I was like, man, that's insane. Like people are really throwing down their Mastercards and their AMX and on whatever. And we're going through a recession right now. We're going through inflation, big time inflation right now. Like the feds are hiking the rates up to keep us from spending so much, and yet we are spending the buttload. So I was like, well,
Mhm.
what if it has to do with population? There's just more younger individuals in the US than there are like our age, millennials. So I looked it up, and
Mhm.
well, what do you guys think is the difference between population in the two in percentage? Let's put in percentage. Given that there's a
I,
hundred people, how many would be? Yeah.
I would first say that if people are opening up their phones or looking at TV and just saying, I'm just going to blow away my savings, please, please, just cut off the TV. just shut down the phone. Please do that, please. Um,
It's a word of
but
wisdom.
about it is I do feel like that sort of stuff, like the things that are happening in the world is having an effect on like the younger people as far as for like because you know emotions do tie to money. We talk about it all the time, and I'm not sure like how it's affecting the younger Gen Zers, but yeah, I could definitely see how some of them will look at the internet, will look at the news, get worried, and kind of find that it's not maybe it's not important to be as disciplined because the world is doomed anyway. But I would definitely encourage people to just it's gonna always be bad stuff in the world. It's gonna always be like worries going on, but don't let it affect your overall goal, especially when it comes to finance. Right now, you're young. It may not be seem like it's as important as important to you, but those small things that you do as far as for just maxing out your credit card, like that's gonna affect you way down the line, when you're either trying to hopefully, get a new job that's maybe in regards to AI, and they pull, you definitely want to be conscious of that. So that's pretty much my take on it. But I'll let you go, Jesse.
Yeah, and perception is everything, right? I mean, we forget that the younger were born with these phones pretty much in their hands out of the womb. So it is like we grew up before it was, in your everyday, even as kids growing up, stuff like that. And so they grow up with it, and they see it as like this is the end all be all. And so it's where I'm gonna get my information. And just like Iman got this from TikTok, they get they get a lot of their advice on TikTok.
Out of
And
TikTok, go check out.
I don't think going YOLO with your finances is the way to go. That is a level down method. There and that is the goal of the media, is to influence. And so, when they try to influence fear, that's where you get meme coins and rug pulls and short squeezes and things like that. But you got to admit, a lot of these younger crowds, they have kind of a little bit of like flicking the system off in a lot of ways. They have come back to roar against it, and I think that that makes change and that creates change. So I think that's good, and I'm just glad they're kind of not just sitting on their hands and saying this is what we have. We need something new things and new processes and new regulations and things like that. But I would say, to answer your question, Iman, the original one, in terms of the difference between what is it, millennials and Gen Z? Is that the two?
Yeah.
Is it like what, 60/40?
It's pretty even. I mean, looking at the entire population, 20.6% Gen Z, 21.75 is millennials in the US as of today. So a little bit more millennials than Gen Z, which I thought was interesting. So I dug a little bit deeper, to be honest with y'all, and I looked at like income. What does income look like?
Mhm.
Let me ask you guys, what do you think the difference in disposable income between millennials and Gen Z is on
Um,
average?
let's see. The difference between the two would be what, like 30,000?
30 is pretty close. Justin, any thoughts?
Hey.
I would say the same. I would say the same.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty spot on. Millennials make about 84,000 an average disposable income. Gen Z makes about 42,000, which is really interesting for me because you're making less, and it's like you said, these processes these younger Gen Zers are making, they definitely are changing the game. I think we're seeing that with like when we grew up. I mean, we, like you said, like you mentioned, we didn't get our first cell phones until we were like 18, 19, maybe a little bit younger, and those were like a flip phone, like Nokia. You were cool if you had the Razor, Motorola Razor. I don't think anybody knows anything about that anymore. Like that was cool. But now, yeah, this that information is out there, and I think there's so much information at once. It's kind of hard to go through it. This could be the old me talking, like it's just hard to like go through everything. But those processes, like we see it in the workplace, companies are giving more emphasis on mental health in the workplace. That's become more important. Taking care of your employees. That's not something I think our generation and before was like too worried about. It was like you go to work and you grind, hustle, hustle and hustle, and like that's what it was. Like you just get out there. I don't care about your anxiety. I don't care about your stress. You make those dollars. You get home. You put it on the table. Like that's the game plan.
Yeah.
But now I think, and even if we did feel a certain way, like it was like you don't go against authority, you don't go against your boss or whatever. You just kind of suck
Mhm.
it up until you get a new job. But this new generation, like I feel like that's something that's they're changing. Even things like you hear a lot about these. I mean, yeah, prices are going up, things like that, and that has something to do with it too. But these individuals are coming back home, living with their parents till they're like 30. Like, and that's cool. That's totally chill. Like, and actually, like, if that's your situation, that's smart. You got to pay rent. You don't got to pay these things. You get a nice, good home cooked meal. Your laundry's getting done. Like, why not to a certain degree? But you don't have to make as much and then still have the life that you want to live to a certain degree. Like it's just interesting how these things are changing. But yeah, I just wanted to share that the end of the world is changing our financial consciousness, and we got to be mindful of that because I mean, if you really think about it, we went through a lot too. We went through the crash. What was it? Avian flu. What was the it was a pig flu, I think, swine flu. Like SARS, we went through SARS, we went through a couple of terrorist attacks. Like we've been through some stuff, but I don't know how like the difference between the generations. Like they're just more outspoken about it. They're just more empathetic about it. They're more, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but more sensitive about it. Like they just feel it so much more than I felt our generation might have. And I could just be speaking on my own self. But those things are changing. It's changing the game for sure. So it's just interesting to see that play out along with all this other stuff we talked about, crypto and AI. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I think a lot is changing. I will for sure support my fellow millennials all day, every day, and I for sure think we have a huge impact in that. So we were here before it changed, we're here when it changed. So I think we've done a
That's
lot as
true.
well ourselves. um, and impacted a lot. And I think we're kind of that middle ground there. But still, like I said, perception and their perception is just completely different from ours. And we have to understand as much as they need to understand, our point of view as well. So, but I think it does bring a great point in terms of the way our emotions connect with money. And that is also, I think, a big point in highlighting that, because what we do as financial coaches, we really try to hone in on that, because that does affect a lot of the decisions you're going to make financially. And obviously, in this case, and this guy being fearful and those types of, he's obviously making those rash money decisions based off his emotions. And I think if he just grounded himself a little bit more and maybe read some history books or took some history lessons, I think it'll kind of humble him up a little bit and say, you're maybe not going through as much as some of our ancestors did. And, we had the Great Depression and things like that. So, I think there's still a lot to be grateful for in the financial world. So, I think it's good just to highlight, hey, you got to control that. It's always a battle between you, and you just got to master that battle within yourself and within your mind, and know what money is utilized for, and what that true vision is, and how can you really like say money is a resource. It's not everything, and I don't, just strive for money, but you got to strive for what ultimately you as a person see yourself doing, and what that gift is that you ultimately want to give to the world.
For sure.
Any last takes on the Doomsday and financial consciousness?
I I ain't got no last takes, but if I'd love to hear from the people that are listening and watching, like share your thoughts on all the topics actually. But I'm very curious to know a little bit more about this doomsday and finance stuff. So please comment. Let us know. Let us know what's up. What you guys think. But no, I don't have any final thoughts on that. I'll leave it to the internet to figure out.
Well, let me just wrap things up here. Thank you for our viewers and listeners. I hope today's episode leveled up a little bit in the crypto world, leveled up a little bit about AI, and leveled up a little bit about, just kind of the perception in, the doomsday, and your financial, how that controls your own financial consciousness, and those types of things. But encourage y'all to subscribe, on YouTube. If you hit that subscribe like button, that helps us out. Really just we're really just trying to give back to, our communities, and give them the knowledge, and talk on these subjects that maybe are not just talked about all the time, and just try to give those up to date news in the financial world. And follow us at True Fin Coaching on our social media platforms. We're pretty much on all of them, but Instagram and Twitter, and what else are we on, guys? TikTok,
Facebook,
Facebook.
TikTok.
Facebook. Yes. So yes, always encourage everyone to seek professional financial advice if needed. Remember, none of this was financial advice today, just some of our own research. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. We can have our first guest on the next one, so you don't want to miss that. And thank you for tuning in, and we're excited to keep this journey going. And thank y'all, and shout out to Common Sense Creatives, because
Yep.
without him, this would not be possible. So, win for Kelby. Appreciate you so much. Peace out.